One. Hi, Hal.
Hi, Stan.
Welcome back to Some Forever, Some for Better podcast.
Should I start us off with a jingle, an original jingle about our podcast?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
There's a guitar over there too. You can play
there
that for
is.
the
You want
jingle.
to go grab the guitar? Can you do me a favor and go grab the guitar and just like strum some chords or something? I'm serious.
Strum.
I'm serious. This podcast is hostage until you do some strumming.
Until we do some strumming.
Yep. We need everybody to appreciate our musical ability because we put a lot of time and effort into it.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, you hear that? That's the sound of a real guitar. All right, Stan.
I'm not ready yet, but go ahead and I'll just make sure we're recording. Hey, we got some corrections from last week.
Oh no.
No, let's say some corrections.
Well, why don't you start us off? I'll do a little jingle, and then while you play, we can do some corrections. Oh, Stan, he started a podcast. This is not the jingle that we intended to do, but Stan started to play some real melancholy shit. Oh, it's a podcast. It's about dictionaries or something. Thank you for all 7 listens. Was that a good jingle?
It was the best jingle I think I've heard.
You think it'll make it on the radio?
I think it should be on the radio.
Okay, good.
Hey, I made a couple of mistakes last week. I don't remember all of them. I wish we could cut things out of here.
Oh, God, sorry. Choked on spit. Swallowed wrong.
You should hit your mute button when that happens.
Oh, I don't have one.
Okay, we'll get you one.
No, we shan't.
Last week I accidentally said this was in the late 1900s, and it really was the late 19th century.
Idiot!
I know.
God!
And I asked an Indian friend of mine if guar was what they tasted like. And he said, oh, no. You can't eat those.
It's not a correction. That's just a really boring story you have.
I think it was because they're endangered and they're sacred as well.
That hasn't stopped Americans before.
I think they're endangered because they did taste good and the English ate all of them.
Well, English just like to hunt. Okay, what else did you get wrong?
I think there's a couple of things. I just don't remember everything.
Cool story.
But I promise to do better this time.
Okay.
Hey,
Well,
you want to our topics?
You told me that all the Indian guys you work with made fun of you for the way you butcher the pronunciation of everything.
They did. Yes, they did.
That's funny.
The topics for this week are from 1877, the history of botany. So we really don't go much past 1877 in the history.
During which point botany was a male-dominated sport.
It still
Women weren't allowed to play.
From 1980 is the history of glass during the medieval period. And I really focused on Venice glass and Germany.
Okay. Why not?
And then from Wikipedia is Charles S. Zane. So get ready for that one.
Is this someone I'm going to care about?
I think so, maybe.
Well, great. All right. I'll stand you and stop flaunting your chocolate cupcakes. I know I got one.
I know.
I hope you're happy.
That's a good
I hope
chocolate
you're happy
cupcake.
for the gastrointestinal distress I'm going to have later.
So, a couple things in botany history. So this is from 1877. It says everything in the vegetable kingdom, whether living or fossilized. And fossilized was new to them. This is like a new thing that says old fossilized plants actually are related to modern plants.
Did you say fossilized and then fossilized?
No, I said fossilized, I think.
Okay, say it again.
Fossilized.
Okay. I just need my headphones on.
And then in Wikipedia, it's also called phytology, and that's about it. So not much on definitions. I'm going to go in early history, because early history in both of them...
I'm sorry, can you take the guitar and put it back, please? Stan's just still holding it.
I look uncomfortable with the guitar in my hand?
Well, you don't look right at home.
So the early history, I did say early history.
Fucking Christ, Stan. Get it together.
It says, botany was not neglected, although the study of it was mixed up with crude speculations as to vegetable life and as to the change of plants into animals.
And shit heating up in the botany community, huh?
That was early history.
Botany
And
fandom, the vegetable fandom.
The first botanist is a guy named Theophrastus. He wrote A History of Plants 300 years before Christ, described 500 species for the treatment of disease. And he's known as the father of botany, and it goes in every inversion. That was from 1877. In 1980, it said that Theophrastus, he studied under Plato. Only 2 of his 200 treatises have survived.
There's 200 what?
Treatises? Writings?
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting, and this is where I always get fascinated by stuff, because in Wikipedia, same guy, he was Aristotle's student. So he was Plato's student in 1980, and in Wikipedia, he was Aristotle's student.
You just know that it's some old dead guy, and that's as far as they bother to research.
Because we always trust, you try to trust things you read. And I know you can have sources, you can go back to them, but you remember the book 1984, where whenever something was different, they changed it, so all the history would read that it was this way?
Oh, that's what's going to happen very, very soon. It just took a few extra decades.
It might be happening now. It's
fucking stupid, just retconning fact.
Yeah.
We should tell them to retcon all physics facts, all physics textbooks, so that physics isn't real anymore, and then let Elon go to space.
But it's like, it says in 1980 they said Plato, and then in Wikipedia it's Aristotle, and I'm going look what, 1980 got it wrong. But I don't know that. I didn't really go to primary sources and figure it out.
Oh, well, I mean, you knew the primary sources. Couldn't you just have knocked on the guy's door and been like, hey, which one of you fuckers taught this guy?
Only 2 of his treatises had survived, so I couldn't go back to original source. Said who his teacher was. So when...
oh, by the way, Stan, today...
Yeah.
I'm going to rate all of your facts for interestingness 1 to 10.
It's going to be 0 for everything.
No, that was like a 4.
It is all this is facts, and then you saying things.
Well, I mean, you could... So, you know the difference between an okay, like a good teacher, but a bad lecturer, like an okay teacher and a great teacher?
Yeah.
Is a great teacher can take all that boring shit and make it fun to learn. So you gotta, make a PowerPoint... or you have to cast from your computer, but with all of your tabs still open. Okay, something to keep the students interested, because I'm fucking bored when you're just
You're already bored.
And then in the year 42, which is when I had my 5,000th birthday, this guy met this other guy, and then this guy happened. It's a bad story. I mean, don't worry, it perfectly would work for publishing houses in modern fiction today, but it's bad story, bad writing, and it's plotless. So this is just concrete, this is
all right.
Concrete. Doing great, buddy. 4 out of 10.
I'm going to throw around a bunch of names because this is...
Oh, please don't.
After that one guy, Theophrastus, there wasn't a lot in the European portions about botany. It kind of died for over 1,000 years.
It died for 1,000 years?
Yeah, they didn't talk about it. It wasn't studied. They used the same plant because they just thought that had everything in it. And it was mainly medicinal values of plants at that time.
I use the medicinal plant to make me funny when I have anxiety.
Is that now?
Yep. So, the ADHD gonna get worse, folks. Strap on in.
So you know how in 1877 they always give you one name. So this guy named Brunfels was the guy who revived botany in Europe.
You're actually pretty mononymous because I just say Stan and everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. There are 50 million Stans alive right now, and nobody asks which Stan, who's Stan. No, but just that guy, that mullet guy.
That's fair in this area, in a localized area.
Yeah, and all the other places where Dracula has hunted.
Van Helsing will catch me one of these days.
You're a menace.
So he wrote his book, History of Plants, in 1583. In 1980, when it talked about the same period, he talked about Pedanius Dioscorides, and he was in the 1st century. He had 600 plants, habit of growth, form, medicinal properties, and that was used for 15 centuries. So in 1877, it said it was ignored for 1,000 years. In 1980, it said this guy's book, Dioscorides, his book was used for 15 centuries in Europe.
15 centuries. We could have just said 1,500 years.
No, I'm kind of talking what they said. They said 15 centuries. That's the words they used. That's the whole point. That's the point I'm trying to make. Do you understand me?
No, it's no point. There's no point to anything you say, Stan. Shut up. I'm trying to have a fucking cupcake.
You're going to continue speaking with your mouth full too, right?
Well, you're always talking with your mouth full. Full of shit! Oh!
Burn!
Yeah, I'll send you some. I'll give you 50 cents off of a tube of aloe vera coupon for that burn.
We may have to play the guitar back so we can make like a little music noises when you do stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can write a little jingle. Write a jingle, bing, 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 bong, like that.
So Pliny the Elder studied plants, but it said his books were uncritical and containing much misinformation. So the reason, in 1980, it said the reason that botany was studied more was because of the printing press, because they had ways to establish a book. And he was called Brunfels in 1877. In 1980, they gave him a name. It was Otto Brunfels.
Okay.
And they started bringing other portions of the world. They said in 1552, a manuscript on Mexican plants written in Aztec was translated by Badianes. I'm sure it's Badianes.
Hey, Stan. 3. You got 1 point for mentioning the Aztecs.
And it said the Chinese texts are much older, but we're just starting to look at them recently.
1. Low-hanging fruit.
But Wikipedia had tons of information, and they covered all the highlights. I mean, I'm going to highlight. They covered all the details in what was happening in botany in China, in India, and the
Those are the only two
Islamic
countries
texts
that exist outside of the West.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times in world history in the U.S., it really focuses on Europe, not necessarily what was going on.
Yeah, those are the only two countries in the continent of Asia that you ever mentioned.
But am I supposed to mention more?
Remember that one time you couldn't name 5?
I couldn't name 5 Asian countries.
It was very hoit of you. Yeah, but you just said China, and then started making ping pong ding dong noises with your face.
That sounds fair. The next we'll cover is Linnaeus. Linnaeus is the main guy we're leading up to. These are guys all prior to Linnaeus, but it's leading up to that because he's very well known in botany.
He's very well known in circles with
In
people
circles.
and stuff. He's very active online in the community.
He still is.
Yep.
Hanging
He
out.
contributes much to the fandom.
So prior to Linnaeus, there was a guy named Andreas Caesalpinus, and Linnaeus called him Primus Verus Systematicus.
Your name would be Stanleus.
In 1877, they use these Latin phrases like everybody just knows it. So it says Primus Verus Systematicus, and then it doesn't say what it means. It just says that's what he was called. What does it
You
mean?
mean Primus is first? System.
Primus. Isn't it the band Primus?
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Well, you know what? We're not gonna go to howtopronounce.com for Latin
I'm
because Stan
pretty
should
sure Primus is called. They
Oh
wrote
my
the
God,
theme
shut up,
song for
Stan.
South Park.
Shut up.
Primus.
Oh my God. 1. Stan, 1.
Another guy, John Ray, was in 1682, and he talked about flowering and non-flowering plants. Flowering was dicotyledons, and non-flowering was mycotyledons. And he talked about affinities of plants. So how they, the things that are common, like they both have green leaves, they're variegated.
You know how I just mentioned how to pronounce.com? I don't think you have utilized that once since I showed it to you.
These words are
And you
difficult.
really
I would
need
spend
to.
all my life going through these
You
words.
could just copy and paste it right into the box. Just pop it in there and press the button, and it'll tell you how to say stuff more correctly than that.
I still wouldn't say it correctly.
Jesus.
There's a so in Wikipedia, I looked up in Wikipedia, that classification was known in ancient times, but it was like 1877 said he came up with it. But if you go to Wikipedia, it says that was known,
Oh
and
my
you just
god,
start
so
doing
many
it.
boring dates.
Just throwing things
So many
around.
boring days when you were alive and I wasn't.
It did say Gru and Malpighi were the earliest discoveries of plant
Malpighi.
sexuality. So they were the ones that were.
There are the ones that were like, oh yeah, plants. Oh, fuck yeah.
And in 1980, it was Nehemiah Gru. So Gru was Nehemiah, and Malpighi was Marcello Malpighi. So they actually named their first name, so it's easier to look them up instead of just looking up Gru in Google. And they had 1,676. That's a number.
Ah, shit. My cupcake fell over. No. Well, no, it's not pretty anymore.
We'll have to have our producers not allow you to eat anymore.
I have to have you not allowed to be stupid anymore. Hey, Stan, remember when I beat you in chess yet again?
Oh, the second time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had even better moves. I had some really long moves that time where I was able to move my guys around.
Yeah.
And I think really the thing about chess is I like to move those horsey guys because you can move them funny ways. And I think that's my main thing. And once somebody captures them because I did something stupid, then I'm just deflated.
Always go for your horsey guys first. Just to watch you be sad for the rest of the game.
So in the 17th century, which is 1600s, the botanists turned away from the medicinal uses of plants. Most of it was herbals. They were looking at how to use the plant medicinally and made it towards more botanical, floral, what you're describing, like how a plant functions, how it works. So that was a shift that's going to lead most of the botanical stuff we're going to talk about.
I was not listening.
And
Wasn't listening.
one of the things they got was the microscope helped them understand, look at being able to see what plants looked like at the cellular level.
You are taking a really great subject of plants and making it so boring.
It's not exciting.
Chloroplasts. I don't fucking care.
We're not even that far yet. We talked about
skip. Skip the next 3 sections.
1671. It was they're looking about plant anatomy. 1774, Joseph Priestley showed that plants give off oxygen, so that was a new thing called phlogiston back at that time.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool discovery.
Yeah.
Thank you, plants.
In 1804, Nicolas de Saussure demonstrated that plants in sunlight absorb water and carbon dioxide and increase in weight. So that's leading to how plants grow. They didn't know that. 1804, they were still learning that.
That's more than I've ever learned in my entire life. Good job, chaps.
And it gets better. Initially plants were based on morphological aspects, so size of the plant, shape, external structures, the leaves and stems. So those are the things that were used to determine what a plant looked like.
Okay.
And I'm going to get into Linnaeus now. So those are just some of the earliest guys.
Two and a half.
The first thing about Linnaeus is in 1877, Carl von Linné, or Linnaeus, just says when he was born and when he died. We'll get more into what he did later on. In 1980, it says Carl Linné. So 1877 is Carl von Linné. 1980 is Carl Linné, Carolus Linnaeus. So that's what his name was.
Can I see that on your
Yeah,
paper?
in Wikipedia, it says Carl Linnaeus, also known after a nobleman in 1761, is Carl von Linné.
Okay, let me look at this. Huh. Where was he born?
I didn't look up where he was born.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, keep talking while I
can't. I have my notes.
Oh. Well, yeah, I see that you wrote a 4 on the page, which is the maximum points you have scored so far, which is pretty shitty. Try harder. You Stan.
So, yeah.
I love you, Stan.
I'm not feeling that.
Oh, well, don't be such a little bitch. Don't be a little bitch like that guy driving in front of us today.
Oh, there's a lot of complaints about that guy. I heard a lot of people complaining. It sounded like a lot of people. It may have just been one person excessively complaining.
Man, like a little bitch.
There was one of his benefactors in 1877. He said he aided Celsius in account of plant in Scripture. I guess that's what they were doing.
Okay, if you can't explain what that means, don't say it.
I just read it. It says, like, I don't know what those words meant back then.
Okay,
It assumes, like,
you're supposed to
in the
take
Bible.
what the encyclopedia says and break it down for a modern audience. Otherwise, you're just going to have, like, 15 confused people go, what does it mean?
I write it down because it's confusing
And then
to me.
I have to give you a -1. You get a minus score.
In 1980, they gave him a first name. It was Olaf Celsius. And he was the nephew of Anders Celsius, who was the one that we know of that invented the Celsius temperature scale. So that's all I brought that up, because it was like somehow they're connected to, like, temperature dude.
And I'm going to invent my own scale and call it the HAL scale.
It's going to be...
It's going to be composed just of prime numbers out of order.
3?
7.
Are those... No, you missed 5. They're out of order.
I said out of order, bitch.
11.
5.
Let's not do this.
Why? Are you scared?
I got
Are you
some
scared,
really-
little bitch?
I got real important things. They gave, like, in 1877, they got this praise of Linnaeus. It's more than what he did. They just talked about him. He was high on verbal accuracy and logical precision.
I thought you were going to say high on life.
He was endowed.
Was he well endowed? Was he endowed well, Stan?
Wait.
Okay. I no longer care about any of that other shit. Was he endowed well, Stan?
He was endowed with powerful
Oh, he was powerfully endowed. Good for him.
understanding
You love to see it.
and capable of undergoing immense fatigue of both body and mind.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Me too, buddy. High five. Well endowed high five. Nobody appreciates me. Go hide in the closet.
So there's a couple more things. He improved the distinctions of genera and species. These are probably kind of boring to someone like
I'm
you.
so bored. Okay,
Let me try
I gotta
something different.
Stan. The well endowed fact, 8. That's your highest score ever in your entire fucking life.
Introduced a better nomenclature on the binomial method.
Oh yeah, nomenclature, binomial method. That's what he said as he was exerting himself physically and spiritually.
Invented a new sexual system founded on the stamens and
Oh man, this
epistles.
is the sexiest guy I've ever talked about. Damn. Did you know him?
Yeah.
Did you know? Was he
Contemporary.
Yeah, was he just rolling bitches all the time?
Talked all the time. Me,
Man.
him, and Celsius. Really tight.
God damn. Did you play basketball with them against a bunch of children?
This is one of the things he was known for. He separated the important from the unimportant.
Oh wow, what important work. What important work. That's
And he required all species to be capable of rigorous definition, not exceeding 12 words.
This sounds like what you force your employees to do with your Fruit Loops. You're like, separate the important from the unimportant. I don't want the red ones and the green ones touching.
The red and the green stamens or the red and green pistils?
So Fruit Loops.
I do like Fruit Loops.
Yeah. We want them manually separated by color and other distinguishable characteristics.
They use so many words here I can't pronounce. I know I could have looked it up.
Howtopronounce.com. It's just
Sexual.
never going to sink in.
There's sexual and asexual plants.
Yup.
And the sexual plants are phanerogamous, and the asexual plants are cryptogamous.
My plants are so horny.
They're sexual plants.
They're so horny. Every time that they do something pretty, like make a flower, I'm like, oh, pretty flower, but you're just being horny.
It's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And, they have both pistils and stamens that every plant has.
I really like bumblebees. They're really cute, but it disturbs me a little bit to watch them pollinate.
They get the pollen on their legs. It's kind of cool. They carry it around.
But they gotta go inside the flower. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. The imagery's bad somehow.
It's just natural.
That cupcake was 6 trillion and a half calories. I hope you're happy you ruined my dinner. That's really good though.
Think of it as your dinner, not ruining your dinner.
Okay.
So this is a really long Latin phrase. I'm going to read it because I know you're going to appreciate it.
Hey Siri, how long and at what temperature do you have to cook meatloaf in the oven? Nothing. Just looking something up for later.
Methodi, Naturalis, Fragmenta, Studios, Incuranda, Sunt Primum, et Ultimatum Ho in Botanicus,
What in
Desideratum est Natura non abstic saltus.
Oh my God, please.
Drake.
No.
Stan,
Stop.
Territorium
This
in
is
Map
torture.
Geographer.
This is torture. Somebody took classics.
I am quoting in 1877. That phrase
Oh my
was
God.
completely written there, like everybody's going to read it. They know what it means. So the people reading these must have known Latin, is my guess.
Stan, you should have just sent this to me. I took Latin. That was embarrassing.
Okay, I've got the translation underneath it. You think you can translate it?
No. Wait, what? You want me to look at it?
I just want to eat some of my cupcakes and have you talk for a little bit.
You just wrote plants are hot over and over and over.
Can you translate that?
You're a hoe. You're a hoe, Stan. It is you who is a hoe.
I did write hoe.
You did
It looked like hoe.
You're a hoe. Fuck you. Oh no. I'm not excited to listen to you try to pronounce the next name.
They're all like that.
Please. Make it more. Okay, if you can't make everything sexy from now on, since botany is such a sensual art, then I'm not listening. I'm giving you ones and twos.
Antoine Laurent de Jesus.
Stan, you're just going. That's not French.
It says he used better definitions than Linnaeus, and so Linnaeus created the binomial structure that plants are named by, but Genet is the one that was mainly used after Linnaeus.
I thought I was binomial, but are you still binomial if you get married?
Maybe. Maybe.
You Stan.
I
don't even remember your last factoid, too.
Are you a plant? If you're not a plant, I have no idea, because all I studied was plants today.
I'm just a plant with anxiety.
In 1980, it talks about Linnaeus published Specie Plantarum in 1753. We had 6,000 species of plants all over the world, and he really talked about the sexual system of plants, mainly from observation, not by how they work. So it was the number of flower parts, the stamens, the styles. So those are the things. And it said it had many imperfections. That's why the Gisot method was more commonly
That clicking
used.
was mostly me cracking my knuckles. Feels good. Oh, yeah.
And then I'll look at some of the more modern stuff. So after Linnaeus things, it's more in like the 1800s it was going on.
Stan, you gotta up the energy a little bit. Be excited about these sexy plants.
So they talked about like the how they
Come on,
moved.
Stan, more energy. Okay, you just talk. Just talk
You're gonna
better.
bring up the energy?
Talk more better. Yeah.
So they did cover Darwin.
They covered Darwin!
In 1877.
1877!
And he was fairly recent. They were just learning all these things.
Just
And
learning all this shit.
and they did have real good discussions of speciation, how species could be formed.
Speciation!
And it did say, even in the 1870s, The species, order, genera are all grades on the same scale.
It's on the same scale.
So we're really starting to learn the whole how
Learning. Oh, yeah.
evolution works.
Evolution! Wow, 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 wow! Wee, 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 wee. Wow, 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 wow. Stan, you're being so boring. Come on. Pretend it's basketball and give a shit.
Basketball starts tomorrow.
No, it doesn't. We can't get through this.
In the 1877s, they did make the connection between plant forms and climate. So they're able to
Took
look
them
at
that
fossils.
long? Goddamn.
Well, no, it did take them that long. It's a fairly recent thing where they learned that the fossilized plants, they could use that to determine what the climate must have been like at that time.
Yep.
And so they're getting into paleontological botany, where they're using, because they knew about the different epochs that existed. And they're saying it's warm, cold, humid, based on what the plants looked like. And we'll say Gregor Mendel is not mentioned, and he was in 1865, 1866 when he was doing his work on genetics, but it hadn't made it into the encyclopedia on botany at that time.
It's probably because he wrote all his sentences really boring and delivered them in kind of a monotone, so nobody cared. But then he added a few air horn noises, and people like suddenly started paying attention. How many sponsors do we have, Stan?
They're not listening because it's boring.
Well, come on, let's put. I think you need to like suck down some more coffee because you're just starting that thing. That's a big ass coffee. You need some more energy.
We're getting close to the end here, so I'm going to just kind of go through. In 1980, they talked obviously about Darwin and Mendel and their effects, understanding evolution and genetics and how that was used to classify plants. Before that, they just saw what they looked like, and they ascertained they must have evolved because of the climate, or they were somehow related.
They're like, oh, that's a spiky plant. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a vagina plant. Can I say vagina on this podcast?
Yes, you
Or
can.
is that censored? Oh, that's a little plant. Oh.
And the
I'm going to be really good at plant nomenclature.
I don't think I'd be good at all. I didn't even write any of them down because they would be
Because you
like,
can't pronounce anything.
the Whiteus roseus was the white rose.
Jesus fucking Christ. You sound like a racist from like South Carolina trying to Spanishify words.
I'm trying to Latinize them. The connection between chlorophyll and the plants
You say chloroform?
I did say chloroform, but I meant chlorophyll.
Well, okay, that's a big Freudian slip. Don't like that.
It was so between chlorophyll and plant production was made in 1864, but they didn't really start understanding the biomechanical processes until 1915. So photosynthesis was new at this time as well. Wasn't really understood as far as how plants operate.
One time I wanted to study and try to become a biomechanical engineer, but then I immediately gave up on my dreams and didn't do that.
So are you a biomechanical engineer?
Yes, now I am, since a real college degree means nothing when you can just get any made-up degree at an unaccredited racist university made up by our best friend,
Donald Trump.
Elon Husk.
So it's interesting that a lot of things that, when we think of plants, we think of this stuff that was discovered after 1877 or at that time, like evolution, genetics, the classification of all the plants show that they're finding out when they had the common ancestors, tracing that back.
I do have to say, to anybody who doesn't love our Elon Musk jokes, one, I don't know why you're here, but two, our most positive audience feedback has been, yeah, keep slagging Elon because he sucks. So we have to keep doing that to get more sponsors and listeners. So quit being a little bitch and jump on board. That's the message from our sponsor, NordVPN.
I don't think anybody complained about Elon Musk jokes.
Oh well, just in case.
They
Just
do?
in case this catches up, because you you have like that sweet privilege, and so you're just telling everybody about this podcast. I'm gonna get canceled immediately. So just when someone doxes me on Twitter, I gotta be prepared with the disclaimer, the fake ass apology, like a YouTube. I'm sorry.
I think this is a good place for our sponsors.
I thought we just did that. Do we have any sponsors? I did ask you before, do we have any sponsors? And you gave me this 1,000-yard stare.
I just wanted to eat, so I wanted you to talk.
Oh, okay. I was going to talk about something, then I immediately forgot. So last week I wrote for our agenda, Beg for Money, and this week I just cross out last week's date and write this week's date. So, hey, does anybody have money and they just don't fucking want it, and you want somebody to take care of it for you? Keep watch. Actually, you know what? A bunch of you are probably still working age, and so you need to invest in retirement and shit. You should invent in-house 401k company. I do the exact same thing that a 401k does for me and other people who just weren't born with money. I lose your money. No, okay, so I spend your money, but effectively it's the same as what my 401k does, which is just lose fucking money. Where is my 401k? I can't find it. They say it doesn't exist. I know it exists. Stan, my life is not going well. I am not on track for the future. I'm really counting on that meteorite to just come and decimate our fucking planet and wipe our species off the rock. So, anyway, yeah, if you want to give me all your investment funding, your savings money, just hand that to me, and I will make sure that it gets handled as professionally as possible, which is how, your 401k handles it, which is lose money.
So, let me give you some advice, Hal.
I do not wish for your advice. Your advice sucks and is smelly.
If someone is letting someone else into traffic, it's
Stan,
okay.
Hey, Stan, shut
it's
the
okay,
fuck up.
Hal. It's
Shut the fuck-
okay. It's
not
okay.
Okay, it's not okay to stop in the middle of the road while traffic is moving and let 15 people turn in front of you when there are people behind you. That makes you a pussy-ass little dick-ass bitch, okay? Don't fucking be a giant dick puss. Just drive, and eventually all of those people will turn, but the people behind you won't have to stop on the road for 15 fucking minutes for no reason.
15 seconds.
I thought that we were fucking behind a train or something. What? Why are you even in a truck that big? We're gonna drive like a
That's a
little
different story.
bitch. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start some companies, and when I do, I need you to plug them on this podcast and share with all your friends.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
I'm gonna start a lot of companies. I have so many good ideas. I can't wait to do my future ad reads. In fact, let me write down some ideas right now, so you can talk about your little factoids
Okay,
or
I'll do my
whatever.
little factoids.
Your little 2s out of 10.
I mean,
Your little D minuses.
I'm switching over to our 1980 topic, which is glass history in medieval Europe, and it's really only covered Venice and Germany. I thought
Well,
they
those
were
are the
kind of
only two
interesting.
places that matter.
There's mostly, you're right. In
That
1980,
was for our German friend listeners.
it talked about Venice and the Façon de Venise, which is the style of Venice. And I thought that meant that the glass from Venice was the style of Venice, but in Wikipedia, what it said was the style of Venice, Façon de Venise, was the imitations that were made in the Venetian style. So that was the difference there. In
The
1980,
what that was made, wasn't listening, was writing down good ideas.
style of Venice, Façon
Yeah.
de Venise.
Yeah, I heard of that part.
Okay. Oh, what did you hear? What part
The
did you
last
hear? Tell me the
4
part
words.
you didn't hear.
The last 4 words. You know what? I don't care anymore. I'll listen to this later. Keep going.
It said Venice was producing glass in the 7th century. In Wikipedia, it said it was as early as 450 AD is when they were making glass in Venice. And in the 1980, it said in 1291, glass furnaces were moved to the neighboring island of Murano to remove the risk of fire.
Was there a big old glass factory fire?
So there's I guess glass requires a lot of heat, and so there's always
Yes,
back then
it
everything was made of
does.
wood, so there's a big danger of creating a fire that wipes out all of Venice. So they moved it to another island.
Well,
It wasn't too
okay.
far away. And in Wikipedia, it said that a law dated 1291 confined glass making to the island of Murano. So they basically made a law, and just so you know where Murano is, it's an hour trip from Venice by rowboat.
Rowboat.
Yes, by rowboat. That's what it says, an hour in a rowboat.
Fun. Row, row, row your boat the fuck away from me.
In 1877, it says there's no evidence that Venice learned skills in glassmaking from the Middle East, even though glassmaking was much more advanced there.
Do they just not want to give credit to the Middle East or something?
Because in Wikipedia it says the glassmakers in Venice were joined by glassmakers from the Middle East. So the styles are very common, and it's most likely they did learn from the Middle Eastern glassmakers. I don't know why they tried to say that it was like invented separately, because they had common trade with the Middle East. Venice was one of the leading traders in that area. So it said in the second half, so glassmaking was around since 450, but it really came to prominence in the second half of the 15th century. It said very similar to Syrian glassmakers, but it says they developed independently, but then the other one says no, they probably did exchange ideas. The family of Borevier introduced enameling. Are you familiar with enameling on glass? Because I wasn't.
Up until this point, like 1.5 to Stan, like 2.
Okay. This is actually pretty cool. So enameling is using like crushed glass to paint colors on top of other glass. So it's when you have like a painted glass, but it's made with glass and then fired so it fuses together.
Okay, that sounds pretty, and I can imagine it in my brain, so I'll give you a 4 for that, because you presented it pretty boringly.
The first piece was 1464, and it says it shows no outside influence. So my assumption there is they don't mean in the style, they mean in the artistic aspect of it. It says it was inspired by the artistic ideals of the Italian Renaissance. Fair.
Nice. Assassin's Creed 2. That was a pretty fun game, wasn't it? Man.
I just watched the movie now. I'm watching it again. That was
No, you
on
can't watch
Netflix.
the movie. You can't watch the movie.
You can't watch the movie?
No, movies based on video games are ass. You have to play the video game. Jesus.
Now, in 1980, it said that the Venetians were familiar with Roman achievement in glass, and it talked about mosaic, millefiori, aventurine, and natural layered stones, also called chalcedonia. And it implies that these were old techniques of glass that they knew they were Roman techniques, and they did things different.
If they were Roman techniques, that means you absolutely cannot pronounce those techniques.
I know that. But it then describes them like millefiori. This was perfected in Alexandria, Egypt. That's what it says in Wikipedia. So it wasn't from Venice. It was perfected there. And it's patterns made by cutting layered rods into beads. They make layers of glass to get different colors. They make these rods out of them, and then they cut
rods! They're making rods and colors and glass and rods! God, this is the sleepiest podcast. It's like, really cool stuff. Oh man, I really need to take a nap at 2:30 p.m.
That's what the podcast is for, so you can sleep during the day and listen to it.
Okay, so everybody, you're listening to this at 2:34 p.m., right? You had lunch an hour ago, you're facing the sugar crash, you're trying to just lay your head down at your desk, or if you work at home, just neglect your duties entirely and go to bed, and you're just listening to Stan's soft, dulcet tones tell you really boring facts about glass rods! Was that comforting? Was that comforting for you? I am deep in sleep. I am deep in nappy time.
I think you're going to wake them up. It's going to like put them to sleep and then create a nightmare, and then put them to sleep and then create a nightmare.
Okay, actually, so I have like it's not quite a story, and it's not quite a dilemma, because I know I'm not going to do anything about it, but something curious started happening like last week or early this week. Every night at around 2 a.m., sometime between 1:30 and 3 a.m., but around 2 a.m.,
too many details.
2 Canadian geese stand outside my window and honk. They go, honk! 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 I'm a stupid goose! And they just honk for a while, and then they leave. The first time they were there for like half an hour. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? But then now they just come in the middle of the night, they honk for like 30 seconds, and then they fuck off. So is this the beginning of the war? The war in Canada.
So
Canadian geezers gonna come and like disturb us in the night.
Have you ever heard cats mate at night?
That's neither here nor there, you weird fucking pervert.
Probably
Zane,
mating.
listen, what? Okay, birds are supposed to be asleep in the middle of the fucking night. Why are there two geese who just come and stand right outside my window and go honk, honk? Why? Honk, honk. Like, it feels intentional, right? There's something. It's just these two geese. I only hear two of them at any given time. Hey, have you played Untitled Goose Game? That's a really great game. You can play it on the Nintendo Switch.
You ask
can play it on
questions
the
and they're not-
PlayStation.
You
can
ask
probably
questions
buy
that
it
aren't
on
part of
the
the topic, and I
Steam.
have no idea how to answer them.
You're being really boring, so I'm going to talk about Untitled Goose Game. It's
What
a game
about-
where you play a horrible goose, and it's really funny.
What about aventurine glass? This is glittering glass made with tiny crystals of metallic copper.
That sounds
it was,
pretty.
It was discovered in Venice by accident. That's why it's called aventurine, because it was accidental.
Okay, I'll give you that fact like a 6.
There was Chalcedonia, which was also found by Angelo Barrovier. He's the greatest glassmaker.
Okay.
And these look like semi-precious stone.
Have you ever been to the Chihuly Museum? That's a cool museum. There's so much glass. So much pretty
Which
glass.
one-
Chihuly.
Is that
In Seattle.
Cornell? Oh, no, I don't know about it.
Oh, man, you should
I
go.
did some work for Owens, Illinois, though.
That, nobody cares about Illinois, Stan.
Oh, Owens, Illinois.
Oh, okay. Well, now everybody
They
cares.
make glass.
Okay. Well, cool story.
I didn't bring it up.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So, in Venice, they made glass beads, and if you remember the story about like Columbus giving beads to the Native Americans,
Were they covered in smallpox? Jesus Christ.
They were.
God, that guy fucking sucked. I hate that guy. I hate pedophiles and everything else that he was.
so it says
Syphilis spreaders.
in 1980, the greatest achievement of Venice was this clear, colorless glass. It was exclusive to Italy. It was called Cristallo. It said it often had a not unpleasing brownish or grayish cast. It was clear. It was made with soda. It was very ductile and cooled quickly, demanded great speed and dexterity to work with. That's what they were most known for, is being able to create this glass. Very, very thin glass.
So how many Italian facts remain on our docket?
Good. A few to go.
A few to go? Okay, good.
In Wikipedia, it says it was, once again, that Angelo Barrovier is the one who figured it out. The stuff was very, very fragile and difficult to cut, but it was could be enameled and engraved. And it said manganese dioxide was the chemical used to decolor the glass, make it clear.
I like glass. Glass
It's really
is
cool. They
neat.
said when they first created this glass, so in the 16th century, it's very austere. But by the 17th century, they learned how to use it, make it elaborate and fantastic forms.
Hey, do you remember Chris Angel on like Mind Freak, where
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, glass is a solid, but it's also a liquid. I can crawl through this glass." Do you remember that?
I remember him being a mind freak.
Okay.
Was that it?
Yep, that's it. That's all we had to say about that.
I'm going back to glass. Okay, they created these opaque white threads, and they would create strings of them, and they would wind them around the glass to create like different forms, and they would create twist in one bulb going in one direction. They'd make an outer bulb going the other direction, so you have like these very crosshatch pattern in the bulbs. And in Wikipedia, it said that was developed in Venice and was called filigrana.
You know, I really want to visit Italy. Should we visit Italy, Stan?
I've
I
been to
wanted
Italy.
to.
Italy's great.
I've never been to Italy. I really wanted to as a honeymoon, but I didn't get one of those because of fucking COVID and cheap poorness. But like if we go
COVID
to
combined
Italy,
with
you know
poorness.
that I'm just going to have to climb all the buildings because I played Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 2.5, and Assassin's Creed 3/4.
And really, if you
2 and
jump,
3/4.
even if you're wearing a robe from those places, you're going to
Ezio
die.
Auditore da Firenze.
So they also developed milk glass, and they also may have created eyeglasses there. But here's some more cool things. So the glass workers on Murano were forbidden to leave the island. They wanted to protect their secrets, so they weren't allowed to go any places. A lot of places said they were tempted to leave, but in Wikipedia it got more details. It said you're forbidden to divulge secrets outside of Venice. If you left without permission, you had to return. If you failed to return, your family would be imprisoned. If you still didn't return, an assassin would be sent out to kill you.
Oh, I do remember that mission, but it was DLC, so I never got to play it. But yeah, it was just, hey, some guy left this fucking island, and he didn't come back, and we tried throwing his family in prison.
It was a glass maker. That's what it's all about. Trying to divulge the secrets of glass.
I mean, like, up until an assassin will be sent after you, that's a pretty sweet deal. Like, I get to break the rules and do what I'm not supposed to do, and my family pays the price. That's ideal. No consequences for me.
No, there are consequences.
Okay, well, eventually you get offed by an assassin.
An assassin doesn't fail. Assassin will find you and kill you.
You think that all the assassins are as good as Ezio Auditore da Firenze? Because they're not. I mean, because people really liked Ezio. They did not like all the assassins. Some of them were very forgettable.
In 1612, a Florentine priest named Antonio Neri published The Art of Glass and revealed the secrets of glass.
Did his family get beheaded in front of him? That seems like a real dick move. That's not a bro code move.
Yeah, I didn't go into detail on that. It just says he released them, and then they were like, the glass was made all over Europe, England, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium.
Are you just going to name all the Europe that you know?
No, the ones I wrote down.
Oh, okay.
It says they use diamond point engraving in London and the Netherlands. But I'll switch over to Germany for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Just first, I want to... 3 for interestingness for most of that, except for the assassin thing. That gets like a 7. But... I do want to give you like a little cookie of praise for not just pronouncing every single one of those names in places as, oh, Mario, Luigi, spaghetti. So good job, Stan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That is your one compliment allotment for the week.
So in 1877, talk about Germany. It said they had, in the 17th century, they had a reaction to the Venetian glass styles. This was huge, just getting spread all over the place. The main styles that they had, a green glass was made in Germany. They used beer glasses, Pruntz, wine glasses.
I use my wine glass a lot. I use my whiskey glass even more. It's not a problem. Stan. I used to drink whiskey. Now I'm stuck with Perrier.
Is you an alcoholic?
Middle fingers in the air.
Nice.
Nice.
It said the Venetian style was done in Nuremberg, N-U-R-N-Berg, not Nuremberg. It might be the same city. And they had some accomplished engraving there. They said a guy named Caspar Lehmann was a gem cutter, and he applied that to glass. And then his pupil, Schweinhardt, established the school of engraving.
You know, that's what I miss. Those kinds of like apprenticeships. Like you just, you go, you go, like that's what I want to do, because a career is impossible for me because it's illegal to hire the collards now or whatever. So I would just want to go and learn a very, very specific craft, like fucking diamond engraving of glass. You think anybody would be willing to take me on? Like,
I consider you my young apprentice as a podcaster.
But you don't know what the fuck you're doing either. You're just like, oh, we'll edit that out, and then you upload the entire episode in its entirety. Like, you don't even listen to the whole thing first. You haven't been hearing all the things I've been mumbling about you under my breath. Like, Stan, fucking Stan. Like,
I am hearing
like,
that.
Oh, I got 2 inches from the tank. That's really big, right?
I'm going back to podcast now.
I don't think that we were ever a podcast. We're just some mad ramblings of old white man and also me.
So this guy was a gem cutter to Emperor Rudolph II in Prague. And just before 1700, It wasn't the Venetian glass they used. It was a perfection of a massive crystal clear potash lime glass that allowed cuts to be done in considerable depth. That's why they became such good glass engravers in Germany. And in Wikipedia, it talks about that glass. It's a guy named George Ravenscroft created a clear glass by adding a lead oxide, and this is what became leaded glass that we use today.
Ravenscroft is such a cool name,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's so Edgar Allan Poe.
Well, it's Edgar Allan Poe. Isn't Ravenscroft the Tony the Tiger guy? You know,
What?
and the Mr. Grinch.
Nobody fucking knows cereal as passionately as you know cereal.
You know the song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch"?
Yes, you
I
should.
think it's Ravenscroft is the guy who sang that. You're a mean one with that deep voice.
Okay.
It's okay.
One. I don't care. And you don't even seem sure of whatever fact that was supposed to be. You never watched my Christmas video
You have a
last
Christmas video?
I feel like I did, or I meant to, and if I forgot, you should have asked.
I should have just known you were doing that.
Yeah.
So in the second half of the 19th century, which is the 1877 encyclopedia, Bohemia was producing etched and enameled lead glass. That was their main thing. They created factories. So previously, the Venetian glass.
In your head. You can keep talking. I'm just not listening. I'm getting bored.
These were the stuff made in Venice was fine art, whereas the stuff made in Germany was more copying styles. They had very good artisans, but not artists. And it continued under communism and continues there today.
Where?
In Bohemia, which was Czechoslovakia.
Oh,
but it was
okay.
Germany at the time.
I'm bored.
And it says things like, the style continued in the 18th century, but the level of artistic confidence declined. And it did say that the glass workers, glass in Venice kind of declined after Napoleon took over.
Declined after Napoleon
Yes.
took over. In case you fell asleep during work again, just helping you out, buddy. You're welcome. You can tip me. Stan, did you set up all those payment links for them to tip me?
Not yet, I'm sure.
God
I'm
damn
going to
it!
at
I
some
told you that
point.
was important. That's the first thing you should have done before you ever started this little misadventure. Money! Stan! Money! Money!
Who's this guy? Giuseppe Briati was successful using the German-style glass.
Stan, you're talking too far away from the mic.
So Giuseppe Briati, and he obtained the knowledge of Bohemian style of glass by disguising himself as a porter, and then he obtained a patent to manufacture glass in the Bohemian style, and it was like, didn't make a lot of sense, so I read into it, and
Well, we've all done that once.
he made chandeliers. He was born into a Murano glassmaking family, and he was allowed to study glass in Bohemia, and he brought the style back. However, he was so good at it, so he made this incredible style of Bohemian glass in Venice that he was allowed, or in Murano, but he was allowed to move to Venice because of threats against his workers due to jealousy about how good he was, and his father was stabbed to death because of that.
Well, I'm familiar with that. All those jealous bitches. Those jealous bitches stabbing my father to death.
So I think I'll switch over to our next topic, the Wikipedia topic. Are you ready for this one?
Why did a bunch of jealous bitches stab your father to death, Stan?
That wasn't my father. It was
Okay, but
Giuseppe.
I thought that's a common experience for talented people. Has that not happened to you? It's happened to me.
I've heard you don't think I'm very talented. You think I'm very boring.
I'm telling you that with just a little bit less snooze in your voice, you could be talented. Come on, Stan.
So our topic our topic of Wikipedia is Charles S. Zane.
Charles S. Zane.
And just in case you asked what the S stood for, it's Schuster.
Schuster. Stan, this sucks. Hurry up.
Says he was an associate of Abraham Lincoln and an anti-polygamy judge.
An anti-polygamy judge.
Yes.
What does an anti-polygamy judge do?
He fights polygamy, and that's what the main thing he did was fighting
He
polygamy.
fights polygamy. You know what? I'm here for it. I'm down.
I mean,
I support Charles Schuster.
fundamentally have nothing wrong with polygamy. However,
That's because you're a disgusting straight man.
However, it can be used to control certain segments of the population that
Okay,
are
Stan.
not.
You can't say I'm okay with polygamy on the podcast. It's like saying you're okay with pedophilia. You just don't say that.
No,
you don't say that unless you're trying to shift our audience very right. We have a pretty blasé
Most of the-
center left audience right now. Are you trying to lose all three of those listeners?
Most of the
Trying to
polygamy
isolate and alienate all three of our listeners? Stan, that's rude. 3 people listen to us sometimes, or at least say, I listened to the first episode. It was okay. You're trying to alienate all those people by siding with the Mormons? I thought that we weren't going to side. I thought that we agreed. We had a strategy meeting where we circled back and quarter circled back and all of that Google shit. And we said, we're not going to not be on the side of the Mormons because we feel like the Mormons are the minority of our listeners, and fuck the minority of our listeners.
So polygamy is not just practiced by Mormons. It's
Okay,
also practiced in
it's
Islamic
practiced by
countries
any.
and-
Okay, so Stan, I have to say this, and you can fucking fight me if you want, but there is nothing radical or revolutionary or progressive or empowering about a man wanting to fuck multiple bitches. All right, I'm gonna put that there, and you can tweet that I said so.
But we're not saying that. We're saying like in actual marriage, there's something that should say like
Yeah.
if you
want to fuck a bunch of people, fuck a bunch of people.
But that's different. That's polyamorous. If you want to be polyamorous, do you have anything wrong with that?
Yeah, but you're talking about polygamy, which is
It's a marriage. It's different. So it's a degree of difference,
okay,
right?
No, it's always a gross old straight man with a bunch of underage wives. It's always that.
Exactly.
It's always
That's what-
that.
that's what we see in
That's why I
practice.
support Charles Schuster.
That's-
because
and
he
we'll
is
see
an
that.
anti-polygamy judge. Because I'm just
So I'm saying-
anti-pedophiles. Okay,
Okay,
like
but
I
that's
don't want
different.
pedophiles to like do their thing that they want to do. All right, that's it, and that's. Stan, why have you done this? Why have you done this? Can
I'm
you?
saying-
Okay, Stan, F minus, F minus. F minus. Move
Not
on.
a scale. We were numbers before. How did it turn into letters?
Negative 15 F minus minus. Hey Google, letter grades below F.
So I think you're saying what it's like in practice. It's just like saying communism is bad because Russia had a dictator that said he was communist. So you're saying polygamy is bad because a lot of the polygamists actually marry underage
Communism
people
as-
and say it's
communism-
okay because my religion says it's okay, right? They use that as a way to
We're
abuse
making a false
young girls.
equivalency between communism and whatever government the USSR had, because that's not true communism. It's a theory and a philosophy. It's like
Right.
an economic philosophy. It's never been put into practice. It can't be. It's impossible because of human nature. Same way as like, oh, yeah, polygamy, except, the gross old straight man can have 11 8-year-old wives, and
But
that's
that's
all
not-
it is.
that- no.
Yeah, okay.
You could- okay, so let me ask you
within-
this.
Stan,
Hold
Stan,
on.
Stan,
No,
shut
no,
up,
no,
shut
no,
the fuck
no.
up, Stan. Within a patriarchy, there is no way that polygamy can be like okay for women and children. There
Okay.
is no way.
So let's
Fight
say
me.
one woman
Nope.
has 8 husbands.
No woman wants to take care of 8 grown-ass man children. All right, Stan. You see
Yes.
your stupid patriarchal
So you're-
ignorance
no,
is showing.
All you're saying is that
Idiot.
because of what it has become, where it's one old guy with this harem, that it's bad. And I'm saying, as a fundamental thing, if a person wants to have
Hey, Stan.
multiple people in a relationship,
Stan. Do you really like the Republican Party right now, right?
this is not a Republican issue.
Okay, no,
Almost
shut up,
every
shut up,
single
shut up, shut up,
Republican
shut
would
up.
be against this.
Shut up. No, you really like the Republican Party, right? Because of right now it's like super war crimey or whatever, or you really like Vladimir Putin? Any stand-in? Well, in theory, the Putin party is very good because if you replace all the things that actually are with rainbow sparkle unicorns, then it would be really good. That's what you're doing, Stan. Shut the fuck up.
Just-
You're bad at debate.
Just because somebody
Stan,
destroys
Stan,
a decent
Stan.
topic,
There's somebody
you can't assume
decent
that whole
topic.
topic
Oh my
is
God,
bad.
Stan. Okay, well now I know your true colors. Stan, we shall never marry. And you should never marry anyone.
Didn't say I wanted to marry. Why are we going there?
Stan. -12.
Okay,
this
so
has
this
been
guy,
so boring.
This guy was a Supreme Court judge in the territory of Utah.
Okay, so he was doing good work.
He was appointed by the Republican Chester A. Arthur, and in 1884, and then again by the Republican Benjamin Harrison.
Back in
1889.
1884, the Republicans were what the Democrats are now. Well,
No,
not
they
now,
weren't.
but like
They weren't.
FDR.
They've always been a party of wealth. It's just that wealth at the time had different things that they thought were important. So that's what's really changed.
Okay. 2. I tuned out like at the 2-second mark, so you get a 2.
So he applied to Abraham Lincoln's law firm, but was turned down.
Abraham Lincoln's law firm, but rejected.
But when Lincoln became president, he became Lincoln's old partner's new partner. So he replaced Lincoln as his partner.
My old partner's new partner is the name of my melancholy love song on my new EP. It's coming out in April this year. Check it out.
Another melancholy love song.
Yup. My old partner's new partner. My old... Oh, go get the guitar again. Bring, bring, bring. It's all the way over there, so I can't. Bring, bring. My old partner's new partner is richer than me. So I'm gonna make that the reason she laughed. Bring, bring. I'm not gonna own any of my behaviors. I'm just gonna blame the other party. Yeah, yeah. And then we have a featured artist, like some fucking 19-year-old bitch. It's like,
Stop it with the 19-year-old.
My ex-boyfriend was toxic.
Let me, I think I'll make you feel better because this guy, as a district judge, he made him a name for himself by sentencing Rudger, R-U-D-G-E-R, Rudger Clausen, of polygamy and illegal cohabitation. He had 3.5 years for his sentence, a $1,500 fine, and he only had, I say only because look at some of the other Mormons, 3 wives and 10 children.
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's so fucking disgusting.
And this guy convicted hundreds of people of polygamy. And the Mormons, this is where you also get another thing. This is where you get in the Peter Thiel thing right now, because the Mormons tried to create their own state that had its own laws based on what they believed in, like Peter Thiel is trying to do with his own cities.
It's so fucking rude that they just ruined the most beautiful parts of the United States. Like Utah is fucking uninhabitable because your fucking daughter will be kidnapped by Mormons, and the like little skinny bit of Idaho that's also ruined by militant Mormons.
It's the Mormon Church officially rejects polygamy and says it was a false thing. So the Mormon Church rejects it. There's a lot of splinter things
When
that
after
don't.
200 years all the bad press catches up to you and you start losing donors, yeah, of course you can reverse your position on anything. They also
they reversed it to become a state.
They're also like a super racist religion. It says like if you have dark skin it's because you're cursed by the devil or some shit.
Yeah.
It's just like we know enough like ex-Mormons or like people who escaped from Mormonism to know that it's very dark. It's very dark side.
There's a dark side to that. And,
It's all dark side.
It's not all terrible. I think in
dark
general I would have a negative.
Wait,
opinion
how
on
does
it.
the song go from South Park? It's like, oh, Joseph Smith found the tablets in the desert, and God said, only you can look at these tablets, can't show anybody else. And he was like, oh yeah, and that's what he came back and he told everyone, dum 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 dum. And then his wife was like, oh, but if nobody else can see the tablets, then how do we know there's tablets? Smart, 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 smart. And so he's like, oh, I don't have to listen to you. I can marry as many women and underage girl children as I want, like disgustingly underage girl children. I can do that.
That's the bad
Dum
part
dum
of it.
dum dum dum. And then all of them did that. Last time you keep talking about fucking Mormons, and last time I told you about the Sherlock Holmes story, where just like 5 chapters are like about the Mormons, and apparently the Mormons got very offended by that.
They may or may not.
Like,
And so
his like daughter had to apologize for it or something.
So the Mormons, because they're trying to create their own, it's like I said, it's like Peter Thiel trying to create his own set of rules with his own people. And so they felt this guy was imposing on them and trying to destroy families, even though they were not families like we would expect
That's,
today.
the
Mormon Church. They considered him part of the
hetero
judicial anti-Mormon
favorite
crusade.
thing. It's like, oh, you're destroying families. That's their favorite thing. Especially if it's religiously motivated. It's like, oh, you're having basic human rights. It's destroying families. and then they like go and like literally fucking buy and sell and kidnap children.
So this is a difficult.
I thought this was going to be a lighthearted episode.
Well, it's okay.
My edible's running out. All right, I'm running out of patience.
Well, let me a couple of things here. So it was originally very difficult to prosecute people in Utah because all the elected
because Mormons don't believe in lawyers.
No, all the elected officials were Mormons. Everybody in the jury was a Mormon. All the judges were Mormons. It was like an insular community, and so if they didn't believe in the law, they wouldn't enforce it. So it was very, very difficult when that happens, and it shows what can happen if you have any place that says...
Yeah, people don't understand why a government and powerful class controlled all by white men is problematic.
It's exactly the same thing. It's like if we said that this country was only going to be governed by Christian doctrine, right? And that's not true. We have to have laws that are agreed upon by the people, not based on an artificial thing like Christianity or Islam or Mormonism, right? I think I agree with that. Maybe you don't agree with it.
You're just saying words. I think you're trying to offend as many people as possible. And I was just thinking, like, hey, what if, like, Jesus was the governor? That'd be pretty great. I'm not edible, man. It's taking me places. This episode sucks. Stan, what have we been talking about? Stop talking about fucking Mormons. Nobody wants to hear about those.
Charles S. Zane is all about.
Just say he did some pretty good work in the Utah territory region of the United States, and we'll all understand.
But he's anti-polygamous. That's what he's known for. It's what it says about him in Wikipedia.
Oh, hey, goddamn, it's 1859. Okay. Come on, Stan.
Okay, go.
I'm talking quick about this.
So. Here's a funny thing. It was like, it's just in 1877 they're talking about Utah, and they're talking a lot about it was Mormon. It says, strangely enough, and this deserves emphasis, Ireland has furnished few, if any, recruits to the cause of Mormonism. It pointed out the Irish. It said they're not into it. They don't dig it.
Well, yeah, the Irish are the best white people.
The Mormons were fighting there was a Mormon war. Or Utah war?
I found out today, I already knew about this, but I was reminded today about the Michigan versus Ohio war, quote unquote. Like, what was that, like 1859 or something? Do you know about that? There was the Toledo War, where Michigan and Ohio went to war over the Toledo Strip, and that's how we got the Upper Peninsula.
Yes.
That's fucking great. And I was just bored and having a conversation with the AI bot today, and we started talking about that and how hilarious it is.
So, it wasn't.
I think that's a fun fact.
It wasn't just the polygamy that they were against. The Mormons were trying to set their own rules and go outside the U.S. government. That's why they sent 2,500 troops to Utah to fight. When Brigham Young died, he gave his $2 million fortune, so that's $2 million in 1877 money, to his 17 wives and 56 children.
Stan, why are you always talking about disgusting, depressing, horrifying things? I'm just like, hey, Stan, for the sake of my mental health, I'm going to avoid learning every disgusting, horrible, evil fact about humanity there is, and then every fucking week you're like, let's talk about the Mormons and all the stuff they did. Stan.
This is the only time we've talked about this because the judge was an anti-polygamy judge.
Okay, but you're not talking about how awesome he is. You're talking about the fucking gross shit the Mormons did. I don't want to know that, dude. I grew up in a town with so many pedophiles. There was like an incident every week. It was a problem.
How about this? In 1890, the fourth president of the Latter-day Saints, William Woodruff, renounced polygamy. That's why you don't have polygamy in Utah. You're not supposed to have it under Mormons.
They fucking do.
There is, but you're not supposed to. Mormons are not supposed to practice polygamy.
I met somebody
from
Utah.
False doctrine.
At a previous Spartan race, and she was really cool, and eventually just the subject came up, and she was like, yeah, there's Mormons everywhere, and they all kind of have a picture perfect family, but a closet full of skeletons. And that's the creepiest shit ever. That's so scary. I couldn't do that. It's like choosing to live in a haunted house. No thanks.
So the Mormons applied for statehood 5 times, and they rejected every time until they renounced polygamy.
Dude, there's this a particular Mormon that I'm trying to piss off and have been for 20 years. Can you stop talking up their accomplishments, please?
I'm not. It's not a compliment. I'm telling you what happened and why this guy.
Okay, can you
why
make
this guy
it?
was
Can you
significant.
tell me something that's not horrifying, please?
Okay,
like just tell me like one happy
Okay,
fact.
we'll finish
Tell
this.
me
It's
one
not- it's
reason
not
to
a
live
happy
today.
fact.
One reason to live today, Stan.
So it was called Buchanan's Blunder when he sent the troops to Utah. They never engaged in any battle. The Mormons massacred people at Mountain Meadows, a well-known thing, and it was called his blunder, but it did prove to be the end of direct Mormon political control of Utah. They basically disenfranchised anybody that was in polygamy. They did a lot of things to remove that from the doctrine and to remove Mormon control of every single law in Utah. So
that didn't work. Stan wants a song about the Mormons and all the stuff they did. Pretty sure that the South Park guys already did this a lot better.
all right, Hal.
I hurt myself. I don't know how. I don't do anything. Why do my gums sting?
I don't think you liked my topics this week.
Stan, can you stop choosing like the word? You didn't even talk about like the guy. You were just like, oh, here's all this shit about more. What? You didn't tell me the guy's favorite color. You didn't tell me the name of his pets. You didn't tell me what color his house was. You didn't tell me like anything about the guy except for the one thing, and then you went into like stupid shit.
So what he
and
was
crimes,
known for,
like just crimes against humanity.
what he was known for was in Wikipedia, and that was an anti-polygamy. That's what I covered.
Okay, and it didn't talk about anything else.
They did not cover anything else about him.
When was his birthday?
It was in there. I don't know if I wrote it down,
Oh, okay.
but I could look that up. It would have been in like the 1820s or 30s. All right, I'm going to do topics for next week.
This has been our most musical episode yet. This went directions. I don't think anybody liked it, but it sure was entertaining for like 30%. Sam, next time I need you to like
I'm
just
going to title
slam
this
an
one
espresso.
The Angry Hal episode.
Okay, did you know that it's sexist and racist to call me angry all the time? Jesus Christ, Stan. Stupid old man.
So from 1877, Volume 6,
You should call
CLI
it the
through
Sleepy
DAY.
Stan podcast, where you're just like, "Oh, I am Stan of Sleepy Hollow," and then that's not Stan was not in Sleepy Hollow, but he'll say, "Oh, I am Stan Rip Van Winkle Stan," or fucking. But you'll be like, "Hey, everybody, I'm your lecturer today. We're going to talk about polynomials. This is a very fascinating subject, and it's going to be on the quiz, on the test, on the midterm, and on the final. If any of you get less than an 80% on this final, I will fail you, and I am allowed to do that, for I am a tenured professor. Now, we shall begin our lecture on polynomials." Your entire fucking class is asleep, Stan. Fucking talk better.
Just because you're not good at maths.
Stan, you're not good at polynomials or lectures. Come on, you gotta like go watch some old like 2009 era TED Talks or something.
So 1877, Volume 6, page 665.
Oh, so close. Come on, Stan.
1980, Volume 11, 785. And I'll have to get the Wikipedia. That's our best one, always.
Bam biddle-lim, bam bam biddle-lim, bam bam biddle-lim, bam 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 biddle-lim, bam bam biddle-lim, bam bam biddle-lim, ba ba. Dum 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 dum. Dum
I'm not there yet.
Dum dum. I already told you all my stories for the day. Hey, did you see that
Oh, we
fight
got a good
between a
one.
Canadian goose and a bald eagle? That was pretty funny. It was great. It was like the Four Nations all over
I
again.
think he said that
How
already.
humiliating.
This is the Roman Catholic Diocese of Canandaigua, which is
Where?
in Paraguay.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm, as you know, I'm converting to Roman Catholic for purely self-serving reasons, so this will be good for me to learn about.
Simply going to look up all the history of Mormonism in Paraguay.
I will know that right away. I don't know. Hey Stan, do you want to start a bullshit fake religion with me and make a shitload of money just being pretty evil?
I could think of some ideas.
It's probably way more profitable than this fucking podcast we're doing. We don't have any sponsors. Mormon-controlled state will not allow us to have sponsors. Maybe we should just make a bullshit religion. Shall we? Shall we make a bullshit religion?
I think we could do that.
Okay. So, like, you can play the part of the cult leader / divinity, but obviously I actually pull the strings and you defer to me.
Wait a minute. I thought I was already the leader of one religion.
No. You don't get to keep calling yourself Jesus.
What if I use that name in the new religion?
I mean, that'll be very confusing for people, and a lot of people won't like it, but why not? The more confusing and nonsensical it is, the more successful it'll be, I think. Oh, man, I'm going to write my own Dead Sea Scrolls.
Find them?
Yeah, I'm going to bury them in the desert, and someone can find it, and it'll say, do not show your friends. But then there will be a page that says, forward this page to 10 of your friends, or else you'll die.
Can I call it the Angry Hal episode with Sleepy Stan?
No, just call it Sleepy Stan. Stan, stop it. Be more creative. If you're gonna insult me, at least talk about how fucking unloved by my father I am, or something like safe and neutral like that. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes, my child.
Where is that guy? Where is that guy and all the money he owes me?
All right. Think we're done for the day?
On that note, where the fuck is my mother and all the fucking money she owes me? God damn it.
I don't know.
Hey, Stan.
Yes,
you owe
Al?
me $15,000 plus interest. Good night. Good night, Australia. Good night. God.
Good night, everyone.
Jesus fucking Christ, Stan.
Yes, my child. What answers can I provide?